Hi, Atul Gopal from Plugin India, and welcome to yet another podcast. We are very excited today to have Madhumita and Dinkar with us today. They are the co-founders of Oben EV, and this is a company which has just very recently announced a brand new made in India motorbike. We are looking forward to getting our hands onto it the moment it's kind of ready in some production lots. The company is based out of Bangalore. A few words about the founders. Madhumita is probably one of the first women co-founders of an electric vehicle company. She has done her engineering from Biju Patnaik Technology University and followed that up with an LLB in IP from IIT Kharagpur. In addition, she also has an Executive MBA from IIM Bangalore. Both her Alma Mater seem to be quite proud of her. They've given her a fair number of awards. So welcome, Madhumita.
Thank you, Atul.
And with her is Dinkar, also a co-founder, is also an IIT Kharagpur alumnus. Small clarification over here, they are not the same batch.
Yes.
Prior to founding Oben, Dinkar co-founded IPexcel with Madhumita in 2016. IPexcel is into technology research and innovation consulting. And they have about 1,000 plus clients and work with 5 Fortune 500 companies in more than 10 countries. And they built up this business to a very good level. And Dinkar also is an inventor with multiple patents to his name in the domains of wireless power transfer and electric vehicles. And prior to IPexcel, he was with General Electric, where he helped the global R&D team with innovation and patent-related matters. So, welcome, Dinkar.
Thank you.
So good to have you on the program. And first of all, hearty congratulations to both of you on the very successful launch of the bike. And today we are going to be exploring the journey that has happened so far, right? So, you guys have both been with a legal background. Of course, there is an engineering background also, right? And very few lawyers kind of, are jumping into fields like you have jumped into. So let's talk of this jump from law to electric vehicles. How did that happen? Any of you can choose to answer.
So when we started our first venture, as it was a consulting, so we always had that dream that we want to build a product, but we never knew that what we will do. But yes, that dream was there, that the seed was germinated already. Then as we started getting a very strong hold understanding of EV and being EV the next tech, the future, then we took a leap that yes, we should get into this and we should solve some problems.
When we started in 2016, because we were working in multiple domains and EV also being one of those, we helped a lot of organizations do their R&D and support them with their innovations and with their R&D piece to achieve those innovations. With that, because EV was picking up, there were a lot of companies which were coming in terms of trying to do something new across the globe. Actually, we got a whole learning of the whole value chain from a technology standpoint. Somebody was working on batteries, somebody was working on charging infrastructure, somebody was working on charging management softwares, somebody was in two-wheelers, somebody was in four-wheelers. So with that, over a period of 5 years, we got a whole understanding of the value chain, especially from a technology standpoint, which is very valuable for us as founders to understand the EV space and then move forward and get into a business like that. So we took a risk in 2016 also to get into a very niche area. And in 2020 also, we took a risk of getting into this kind of a business.
And when we started EV, people said, what are you, what kind of, you're talking about EV, like making vehicles? We said, yes. We were like that underdogs, quiet. We didn't do any marketing, nothing. We said, let us plan for it, how we can achieve. Let the product or whatever we are offering to the consumer world, let that speak for it. So that was one very strong philosophy what we had. Rest, there is learning in any space you enter. So we were open for it. We were just that we'll take up the challenge.
Yeah. Product is the hero. Product will do the
yes.
So, question to you, Madhumita, is, you you both of you had certain experience, or at least okay, Dinkar has had some experience in managing R&D. So let's talk about the R&D process now. So take us through the steps in which kind of this motorcycle got conceptualized. How did kind of and give us a very crisp kind of a overview of what kind of processes went into making the getting to the state that you are today.
Okay, right. So see, whenever you are starting with any kind of product that you wish to do, you have to start with a design envelope, right? With the design envelope and the specifications that you want to achieve. Based on that, then you start understanding what is available, what is not, what you have to do in-house to do those things. And when we wanted to make this kind of a motorcycle, there was many components which were not available in the market, which could basically sustain the kind of performance that was there. So we took a hard call in our organization that okay, we have to innovate on those things and we have to take it forward internally to make sure that we can achieve those performances. Now, once the design envelope is done, then you do the conceptualization, then you do the designing of the vehicle. So that also is completely in-house. Our head design is here with us. So that's where the conceptualization, the designing of the vehicle happened. Once the designing was completed, then also along with that, parallelly, the whole frame piece of things comes in. Along with that, you have to make sure that whatever you are making is sustainable in terms of the mechanical strength and other things. So you have to do the FEA analysis, you have to do the CFD analysis for heating and other things, right? So all those things taken into consideration in-house by our team was the piece that we took forward and then brought this vehicle on board along with the components that we developed in-house. Now, that is where the whole R&D management piece comes into picture and the experience that what we need to do in-house and what should be our core capabilities. Now, because of which we were very clear what we want to do, and that's how we did the hirings also, because that is another one challenge which is there for everybody actually.
In the EV.
EV is a very new field and finding right expertise, okay, is very difficult in EV. So, and if you want to hire the right expertise, you should know whom you are hiring and why you are hiring.
First, you need to
so
understand.
you need to understand the whole space and you need to understand what the person is saying is right or wrong, right? So that's how, that was one challenge which we faced actually, and based on that, it took us time to get the right people on board, build the whole team, move forward and develop the vehicle that we have. Now, what happens is people always start from some point where they feel that okay, they can do certain integrations and get it done, and then that is why they fail, and then again they go back to the drawing board and everything. When you are clear from day one what you want to make and how you want to achieve it, that helps in doing things faster. Your iterations reduce.
Can I ask you, Dinkar, can I ask you a question? What are you making and what are you buying? So if you could just at an aggregate level tell us.
So all the critical components we are making in-house are designed, developed in-house, and will be in the production model delivered by us by production in-house as well. So you talk about the battery pack, you talk about the motor, you controller, BMS, everything is in-house. All these four components specifically.
So are you making your own motors? Are you kind of saying that?
Yes.
Right from buying magnets to kind of all that is something that you're doing on your own?
Yes. The magnets will be bought and the motor will be produced by us. In-house, put in the vehicle. Sorry, production would be done in-house and then the vehicle will go out.
Okay, so that's a fairly brave decision for a startup, because even a lot of established companies are not really kind of into battery packs and motors. So it seems to be a fairly big bite that you've taken, and I hope you can chew enough of it to kind of get those things out in time.
So I think in just to add to this, why this kind of decision also we have taken, because definitely when we started, it was like we would design and get it. All the IPs will be with us, but we'll get it done similar as a OEM, which will help us in taking to the market, launching the product fast and delivering. But now the challenge what we are seeing that the kind of expertise or in the component level, we're really finding it hard. One is definitely the timelines vendors are not able to meet. Second, there is very few expertise. Then if I have to invest so much time there, then it's better when I have a capability, let me build upon it. So that was also a very strong driver for pushing us to, do it everything in-house. Then now this is helping us definitely on the QC, helping us in optimizing cost. And third very important thing becomes you are less dependent on others. So that is another, yes, it is definitely, the vertical integration is not a easy task, but yes, it gives me leverage.
Yeah, so I agree. Integration is obviously much better when you have more control over your aggregate. So I'm sure the battery, for example, talks very well to the motor and to the controller rather than having them coming in from separate aggregates. But I don't know, matlab, the capex definitely kind of goes up significantly because you're a startup and you're bootstrapped for a long time. So my only worry is that if you've got limited capital, how many things do you want to do? But just an observation. I'm not kind of commenting on the capital structure right now, but it seems to be a very brave decision on your part. Okay, now coming to localization challenges, right? So we just kind of news is what 3 days, 2, 3 days old news is that Shenzhen is now shut down. Huh? COVID and whatnot. And obviously, you're not going to tell me you're making your own batteries, right? I won't believe that.
Cells, sir, not batteries. Battery packs.
Cells. Yeah. Battery packs you're making, but I'm assuming you're not making your own cells.
Yes,
right?
obviously. That is true.
So how do you kind of go about managing your supply chain? Because whether you like it or not, your magnets are going to come from China. Nobody's making those.
Correct. You are absolutely correct.
Correct. Nobody's making battery cells over here in India, right? So what is it like? How are you going to meet those challenges especially in a kind of a world where you have wars happening and COVID coming in again? And so, any plans? How are you buffering in? How is it going to be like?
Right. So see, I would say in this piece is the planning which makes everything very efficient. When I say planning, what we mean by that is we go by our plans, what we want to do. How many vehicles we want to make. After that, how many vehicles we want to basically showcase for our testing and anything, and how many vehicles we intend to sell in the first year. We are not going by the approach that okay, let me take n number of bookings from everywhere and then try to basically support those people. I have my numbers, we have our plans, and we want to achieve only those numbers. So we are very clear about what we want to do, which helps us in planning things way more better, right? For example, the production vehicles that you are mentioning, so initial lot of production vehicles, for those we have already placed the orders because we know how many vehicles we are going to make, right? So that planning helps. Tomorrow, if I think on a day-to-day basis that what is the next thing I'm going to do based on the response which I'm getting from the market, then you always end up in having to optimize or modify your plans. In our case, our plans are set, we want to what we want to achieve. So that is where, even from a whole 360-degree standpoint, our manufacturing facility is done. The building and everything is there. Now machines have been ordered. They'll start coming in actually from next Monday for the battery pack and all those manufacturing pieces. For your after sales support and everything, we already have a plan in place how we are going to achieve that, what we are going to deliver to the customers, which was there in our launch as well. In terms of financing, what we are doing. So everything we are taking a 360-degree approach because we can plan things based on the numbers that we want to achieve rather than doing it the other way.
So we are not just following 1 lakh किसी ने बोला तो we have to also go by that 1 lakh, 10 lakh and all that. No. We are not in that short term run. We would say we are here for long term, and long term means delivering that first 1,000 rightly. It's not about promising and you're nowhere. So I think that is something we are very, very clear about it. From day one, we were not there anywhere till our product was out. We are just quietly building that.
Madhumita, when are the first 1,000 going to be delivered?
So July. Yes.
Okay.
July.
Yes, sir.
That's ambitious. Okay. Right, and I think you're right because of course, you're indirectly referring to Ola, and since I'm not quoting you on this, but
there are many organizations, sir.
Because maybe for them, there are many organizations. If you just kind of get products from outside, it's very easy. You can roll out 1,000.
And they have their own plan. Everybody has their own plans and way of working. We have our own way of working.
See, everyone has kind of a strategy to position themselves in market. So that is their call. Our call is, if we are small, fine. We are happy being small, but my that small 1,000 customers happy with me. That's what I want to build on. The growth might be slow, let that be, but I don't want to get into that.
Madhumita, isn't it kind of an economies of scale, a chicken and egg situation, that you are small, so you don't get buying efficiencies, and so your prices tend to be higher? Ola sells at 85,000 after subsidy. A lot of people who would say, "Arey bhaiya, main 30,000 zyada kyun दूं?" or something like that kind of a thing. Your reaction on that?
So I think there is a chicken and egg story, that is true, but somewhere I feel that without you making these tall promises and you end up nowhere. Rather, I would agree to this, that okay, there is a price, that gap, or I can say that hit has to be taken, but that gives me more stability and trust.
Moving on to the product. So, Madhumita, women usually don't prefer motorcycles, and in spite of starting this company, and we're so proud that you're kind of a female-led company, so to say. How come you ended up choosing a motorcycle? Or is
I
that
used to ride
Dinkar's?
motorcycle.
You use a motorcycle? Okay.
I used to, because I remember I was having what is that, RX 100. I used to like the sound. So
Wow.
I used to take my brother's Yamaha YPX. So I used to fight a lot. So I have been that kind of. That's one. Second, I think passion, love, preferences, personal preferences are quite aside. I think business if it is making a business sense, that is more important than having personal choices. But anyways, we have multiple products, so even scooters are also coming.
Scooters are happening.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, ठीक है. Let's hear a little bit about Rorr, and let's start with the brand name. Yeah. So,
Yeah, sure.
so Rorr, pronounced the normal Rorr.
Yes.
So what does it stand for? Any of you can answer that.
Roar by performance.
So it will roar through its performance, its design. That's what we stand for.
So it's a sports bike, basically.
It's a sports bike, you can say, but yeah, in terms of acceleration, it's way better than any 200cc bike.
Okay. So, if I were to look at the sports segment today in India, you have brands which are like Duke and Pulsar, and to some extent Apache from TVS, right? So, which of these would it match in terms of performance or exceed?
So I think Pulse.
Sir, so we are targeting this vehicle for the customers who are looking or who are in the market to buy a 150cc bike.
Okay.
Right? So that is what is our target segment right now with this bike. Along with that, definitely the acceleration is way more better. But our target segment is the 150cc bike.
150cc bike. Okay. So a little bit above the Splendor in some sense. So Splendor is not really, the commuter bike is not really what you are kind of looking at entering into.
Not with this product.
Okay. Okay. So one of the things that we are looking at is, you mentioned a kind of range of between 120 and 200 kilometers, I think, right?
Yes. So IDC would be 200, and then different modes will have different.
I would of course love to kind of really experience the range that I get, right? But I think I usually tend to kind of want to get figures coming in from the manufacturer. Real life, Mr. Average, if he drives around in a city like Bangalore, right? What kind of range can Mr. Average expect?
So economy mode, and these are all tested numbers that we have been testing. So based on that, we are giving those numbers. 150 kilometers for the eco mode, 120 kilometers for the city mode, and 100 kilometers for the havoc mode, which is the biggest, highest performance mode.
Which most people will not be in full time. So you could roughly say about 120 plus is what you can expect from the bike, right?
Yes, city mode. Yes. So we are also
under most situations, 90% of the time it should give you a range of 120 kilometers.
Yes,
correct.
Yes.
Okay, which is kind of fair. Anything else which makes your bike stand out?
the acceleration, the performance of the vehicle, the handling, the stability, the agility. We have done a lot of basically work on the frame to make it lightweight and to give a best possible weight distribution to make sure that it's stable. Because when you put in a battery pack of a particular size, right, the weight tends to get distribution tends to get basically off, right? So we have made sure that that doesn't happen, and even at a very low speed of say 3 to 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers per hour, also if you drive it, it will still be highly stable, and it's not that you'll fall off or something might happen.
Dinkar, how you managed to achieve this? Because it's a 4 kWh battery, right? I'm not seeing the specs, but
Yes.
it's a 4 kWh.
4.4.
4.4.
And do you want to go on the record to tell me whether it's an NMC or an LFP?
No, LFP, we have already disclosed it. It's a LFP.
Okay, it is an LFP. Right. So 4.4 kWh LFP means it's a fairly heavy pack, right?
Yeah.
What would be roughly the pack weight?
What is the roughly
the weight of the battery pack?
Vehicle.
Sir, the vehicle weight I would say is about 130 kgs.
Out of which the battery pack accounts for how much?
I would not be disclosing that as of now. Let the vehicle come in, and then I'm sure.
Okay, because it's not portable for sure. It's not really going to be.
No, it's not portable. No, it's a fixed bag. It's a fixed
bag. Right.
Yes.
Okay, so you were telling me you achieved good weight distribution using this particular battery pack, and I'm kind of interested because I have a very personal interest in batteries, and I've been telling a lot of people that we need to have modular battery designs where instead of putting in all the weight together, especially in fixed packs, this can be done. But I don't think you guys have done that, right?
No, we haven't done that, because then what happens is you have to put in additional things in place to make sure that it works properly, and because of which again your cost increases.
Like for example, TVS has got 3 battery packs.
Right. So now they have a battery pack which is of a lower basically wattage, right?
Yeah.
So now if you are separating them out, you have to have separate kind of BMSs, then a master controller to manage that, and all those things cost. Now TVS might have money to burn, we don't.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is that you would love to distribute it, but the cost goes up, and that's something you think that customers in India may not be ready to kind of pay.
Yes.
Okay, but just as a novice, what is it? Why do you need to have separate BMS? Just have a wiring which kind of connects this series to that series, kind of a thing. Doesn't it work out that way? And I'm sorry if I'm sounding like a novice, but we could please try to answer this on behalf of our viewers or listeners.
Sir, see, we haven't explored that. We have explored the better version of it, which is if you want to do it, you have to have separate master and slave. That works out best. Otherwise, your load balancing and technical issues might come in, which might degrade the battery pack because of the balancing issues over a period of time.
Okay. Sure, fair enough. So we'll go with the RDCN. And what you're saying is the current location of the battery pack is such that the balancing happens better because it's kind of more central.
Yes, because of the frame and because of the CG.
Right. Okay. Now, see, one of the things that a lot of people who have been riding electric vehicles have kind of commented upon is that as far as ergonomics is concerned, as far as suspension is concerned, a lot of the new startup EVs are not really able to match the old Bajaj and TVS, etc., etc. So, what's your comment on that? Because that's going to be a question, where people might just kind of ask you the moment Bajaj or TVS comes up with a bike and say, okay, why buy a Rorr when you can get a Pulsar electric or a Apache electric or something like that? So, what's your comment on that?
Right. So in our vehicles, see, it is true for every vehicle actually. The way you design your vehicle, you have to have suspension accordingly. And along with that, you have to identify in which road conditions you are going to drive that vehicle. So based on that, the vehicle and the suspension that we have put in is a custom suspension for our vehicle. Okay. And according to our weight distribution, according to the way we are putting our brakes, so it's not a single item. You cannot see brakes as an isolated thing. You have to understand the whole frame. You have to understand the weight distribution of the person who's sitting on it, the battery pack, the braking that you put in, the kind of potholes it will go into, and then identify the optimum piece under which you can have your suspension made. So our suspensions are also custom. And then in terms of the other piece, ergonomics that you mentioned, ergonomics it will be one of the best that you can find compared to any of the ICE vehicles. We have worked a lot on those ergonomics as well. We have gone through 3 iterations of vehicles just to make sure that we achieve the best possible ergonomics up to what we understand, and then the customers will decide.
And the benchmark also.
And we have benchmarked a lot of great ICE vehicles.
I'll share my experience of the Revolt with you. I was
Yes.
one of the earliest riders of the Revolt, and the problem comes when you go for a 30-40 kilometer ride. For the first 10-15 kilometers, it doesn't really pinch. But there's a kind of the posture is such that the groin kind of gets pushed by the tank, and it's not a very happy feeling. So, those are the kind of little things which I think kind of make a difference as far as design are concerned, and which is why I said I will not comment till the time that I actually put in a few 100 kilometers under the belt and then kind of, give you a comment on that. But this is something which I hope kind of you guys come up doing better.
Absolutely. I would just say one thing, that when you visited us previously, so after that, 2 iterations have already been, modifications already have happened. So we have 2 further modified vehicles which have come in, and that is basically getting into production.
Right. Now, we are looking at, your 4 kWh battery, and I'm assuming you're going to be specifying a 5 ampere charger kind of, which is a normal this thing. So how many hours of charging is the pack going to take?
So again, the charging is again our USP. So the 4.4 kilowatt battery pack, you can charge in 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're looking at roughly 20 ampere kind of a current coming in from there, or you'll have to, because this is not something your normal 15 ampere can take. Will you have to fit in a special point for this?
So it's through a normal 15 ampere socket.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are again innovations on the charger side of things.
Okay.
To basically help us achieve that number via the 15 amp socket. So it's a 15 amp socket charger. With that, you can achieve that 2 hours.
You can charge anywhere.
And you can charge anywhere with any 15 amp socket.
Okay. Okay.
Because we are providing an onboard charger, sir.
Oh,
yes, sir.
Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic. Onboard charger is like really great news. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you don't have to kind of, all you need to do is Chetak style, just plug in the wire kind of thing.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yes.
Lovely. Excellent decision. I just something I did not know, and I think I'd be very happy. So, and I hope your tank has got some storage space, or is that where you're fitting the charger?
So storage space is
as accessories, maybe.
As accessories we will be providing, but not in the vehicle.
Right. So right now the charger is kind of occupying your tank, huh? Which is okay. I'm fairly okay, because it's better than having an empty tank, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So that's nice, and I think nice, good design decision. Those are small things that kind of really matter, right? Staying on the subject of batteries, there's been a lot of fear that is being built up in the minds of especially people who've not taken this into go electric, that there are safety issues with the battery, and you tend to have some Diwali explosions happening in your kind of battery pack. So anything that you want to comment about, what kind of safety features have you guys kind of looked into, especially as far as your battery is concerned?
So we have a smart BMS, the first thing, where the voltage protection, current protection, any of the other things, if anything goes wrong, the system cuts out the whole battery pack itself from catching any kind of fire and everything. And moreover, because it's a fixed battery, there are anyway lesser chances of having that fire piece, because typically fires happen in removable batteries, as what we have seen in past.
We've seen that most of these fires seem to happen during the charging phase, and you're particularly using slightly higher currents for charging. So anything specific to that you've taken protection about?
Yeah, so that's how we have designed our battery pack and the cells and everything, to make sure that they are capable of taking those things.
Right, because see, the other thing that kind of worries me, especially with fixed packs, is that or not really fixed, with all kinds of packs, is how do you go about doing your heat management, especially on charging kind of a thing. So the more bigger your battery, the challenges of heat transfer kind of increase actually. So So I see some fins on your kind of outside for your this thing. So apart from that, is it forced cooling, or are you looking at air cooling, or how is the heat management going to happen?
So that is where we call it, sir, the MHX technology, which is the maximum heat exchange technology. So we have made sure in our pack as well, outside as well as inside, to see to it that the whole heat exchange happens in the best possible manner, so that there is no heat which is pending or doesn't get accumulated at a particular point in the whole battery pack.
Okay. ठीक है. So again, last one or two questions about the battery pack. What kind of warranty are you giving on the pack, and what is the realistic life that one can expect in terms of number of years or number of kilometers from this pack?
Okay, so first of all, we are giving a 3-year warranty on the battery pack or 60,000 kilometers. On top of it, we will be providing an extended warranty as well to the customers of another 2 years. So totally, it would take up to 5 years if the customers wish to take it. That is what we are providing initially to any of our customers.
Okay, and what's the realistic estimate on life? What's your take on how long will it be before we need to change the battery?
See, if you wish to drive a lakh of kilometers with our range, you can go. That's not a problem.
And what kind of
Simple.
degradation will happen in a lakh of kilometers?
Degradation and everything, sir, we can discuss at a later point, maybe.
Okay, right.
But yes, I can just mention this one piece to you that today, if you take our city mode of 120 kilometers, you drive every third day, you will end up in 5 years doing about, say, 1 lakh kilometers or more.
Okay, so you expect that not more than a 20% degradation at the end of 1 lakh kilometers?
Actually, we have better results.
Okay. Okay. But you would like to wait for a few enthusiastic riders to actually go all the way and see what kind of riding.
Yes. We want the customers and authorities like you in the EV domain to
Tell that.
to feel that, experience that, and then take your own views on that rather than we telling it, because we can say anything, right?
No, LFP is a good chemistry, and we have users in our Plug in India groups who have done about 50-60,000 kilometers on the Revolt, and they've not experienced any significant degradation. So on the path, you seem to be on the right path, but again, it's all a question of how it all comes together, and that's what will kind of make some difference. Small things like internal resistance and solder quality and all that kind of stuff is something which reviewers can't express, but definitely kind of gets featured in the live. Okay, very quick question on the FAME process. I think last time I had a chat with you, you guys were still in the process. So is that complete, or is it still work in progress?
No, so FAME happens after the approval of the vehicle happens.
Okay.
So you cannot do it today even if you want to, but the requirements are very clear. So we are meeting all those requirements to get the FAME subsidy. And
But
that's how we have even given
the bureaucracy sometimes takes its own sweet time. So you might want to launch your 1,000 motorcycles in July, but if the folks in the government decide कि नहीं हम इतनी जल्दी में नहीं कर सकते हैं, will you kind of sell vehicles without FAME in that situation?
Sir, we have a commitment towards our customers, so we will make that happen in that price point, either this way or that way.
Okay. So that's kind of nice. So irrespective of what happens, if you kind of your customer is paid up for a particular price, he or she will end up getting that price. Okay, yes. Very nice. Let's kind of talk a little bit about the distribution. We this 1 lakh scooter wala company which you've been talking about have taken a very different decision of short circuiting the whole process and going directly to customers, right? So I just want to understand from you ki you obviously are not kind of following that particular thing, right? So did you go through the thinking for the pros and cons of each of these, and how did you arrive at that decision that you finally ended up taking?
So I think we have taken up first keeping our consumer in mind. First is the Indian consumer yet to buy online a product, and product like automotive. Mobile tak okay, but yes, after it's a brand, people buy online Apple phones. But right now what we see that for two-wheelers, the product, the consumer, the real consumer is yet to go to the dealer, go to the shop and touch and feel and a POC. More than that, I want a face to whom from whom I'm buying. That's first thing. That was first decision, first box which helped us to think, we have to go by dealer model. Second, definitely when consumer is not that way, so that says that we have to go via dealer model. And when we go via dealer model from a business point of view, marketing costs are less compared to you go online and start marketing. So that is also one of the thing which helps us to take a decision. We should go by dealer way. So our strategy is that we'll be selling, our distribution will be doing via dealers.
And what about servicing? Is that also going to happen via dealer? Because a lot of times what I have seen is that dealers don't make enough money in service, so they tend to skimp on hiring service technicians, and you end up kind of either making repeated trips to the dealer, or you get shunted between one dealer to the other till the time that you actually find a technician who is competent to service.
No, that is why we have kept both the channels separate. It's a hybrid approach in terms of having dealership separate, service station separate, or services separate. If a dealer wants to take it up, he can. Otherwise, we have our own channel partners to deliver that doorstep service to the customer.
Which I think makes a lot of sense, and I would say that that's a kind of standard model that probably you need to look at, because honestly, I don't know, with the volumes of bikes that you have to start with, not too many dealers may be interested in the service aspect. And as it is, both of you understand that EVs में service करने लायक ज़्यादा कुछ होता भी नहीं है, मतलब they hardly kind of it's not like a petrol guzzler as far as maintenance is concerned. So I think we'll definitely, the industry will need to rework its service model, and I'm glad that you are looking at that option right at the start. Okay, so I think good. We've had a very interesting conversation. We've kind of gone through your process from the time that you've started to the time that you kind of got the plans in place for the future. So really excited to kind of see what you actually made, right? And I hope that in a month or so, you'll actually kind of be sending across a bike for review, and Plug-in India would love to kind of do a much longer review on the bike, because like you said at the start, and I'm going to say at the end, it's the product which is the real hero, right?
Yes.
And we're looking forward to आपके film के नए heroes जो आने वाले हैं, and hopefully heroines also at a later stage in time. Yeah, thank you very much, both of you, for kind of making time to be with us. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for having us here in Plug-in
India.